What's going on? So the Gemara says that the Mishnah actually says that there are three things that a get isha and a shtar shikhr are compared to. L'gaba three halachas. Right? One was b'fana nechtam. The other was kol get sheyesh olav eit kusi posel chutz megitei nashim shirchur avodim, and the third was which means in English that Goyish Chasimis on get isha and shtar shikhr are kosher. Rabbi says a fourth thing that l'nei chazara, if a odin or a baal give a get or a shtar shikhr to a shliach, he could be chayzer by both. Okay. Now the Gemara challenges the number 3 or 4. The Gemara says there's another one. Don't give it la'achar misa. By mana tnu mana laploni meisitnu la'achar misa. There we say give it la'achar misa. So what does it mean by get isha and shtar shikhr? If you give a shtar shikhr, get isha to a shliach, and then the fellow dies, lo yitnu la'achar misa. Why not? Why is lo yitnu la'achar misa? What would you say? Why is it late in la'achar misa? What's wrong? Give it la'achar misa. Why can't you give it la'achar misa?
Because when's she going to be divorced?
You think she's already an almana?
She's already an almana.
She's already an almana. So what's the problem with being an almana?
Whether she's a gershon or then she can't marry a kohen and all this.
But why can't she be divorced also? Be megarisher. Be megarisher as well. She'll be also a kohen. Be megarisher now after she's an almana. Be megarisher. Why can't you be megarisher?
Because it only starts when he... As in, the shliach represents the Baal, so if he's dead,
the shliach represents the Baal. Once the Baal drops dead, the shliach is over. He can't go be megarish anymore, right? Isn't that what you would say also, Danny? That's the reason?
No, I go with Rafi.
What's the reason of Rafi? What's Rafi's reason?
It doesn't matter.
No, yeah. It doesn't matters very much, and that's what I want to speak about.
That she's an almana, and therefore didn't gershon. I think the other reason is also valid. But
therefore, right, but that's the first reason you would say, that because she's an almana already, that's what you would say also. She's an almana, so it's not shayach gershon anymore. Why isn't it shayach gershon? Because she's not married anymore. She's not married anymore, finished. It's over, the whole isha's his bottle, right? Mm-hmm. So really, we have two reasons. Really, we have Yosef's reason. Yosef's reason resonates more with me. That's a more simpler reason, because you can't. He's not a shliach. And the more fundamental reasons, like you're saying, because Girish is not shaykh. Once the guy's dead, it's not shaykh to be megarish, right? Now, what does Rashi say? Let's take a look at Rashi. Which reason does Rashi tell us? Rashi says, "Kiven demis," right? In the Ramaskal Litin Lachamisa, "Kiven demis kodem." Since he died before he ever gave it. Sulei have a shichrei. The end of Rashi. Rashi says the shikhr wouldn't be a shikhr anymore. The nafkele rishusei minei, right? Because the rishus of the eved is out. V'chayle rishus yarshin. He's waiting for rishus, right? The shliach of the odin can't go be meshachar the eved once the odin dies, because it's not the odin's anymore. Being meshachar from the rishus of the odin, he's not the rishus of the odin. He's the rishus of the yarshin. Okay. That sounds like you're saying pretty much by a get isha the same thing. She's not in the rishus of the Baal anymore to be megarish. There's no gerushin can't take place, right? Because not in the rishus of the Baal anymore. The Baal died. That's what you would say. Now you could say another reason as well. You could say because the shliach is his bottle. The guy died. The shliach is his bottle. Rashi doesn't choose to say that. Now you could say either Rashi said chodem etar tinoka. That's what you could say, or you could say it's pedavka. We'll see about it in a second. Okay. Now the Rashi over here in the third wide line, Rashi ela b'shtar. Rashi says, and ve'ein shtar mikna la'achem is the popular rishus of the noisim. Again, Rashi chooses to say the reason by shtar as well. Rashi says, right, the Gemara says by shar stars you have the same problem. What's the problem by shar stars? The problem by shar stars is not that the shlichus is bottle, like Rabbi Yosef wanted to say, not like the shlichus is bottle, but because it's pakale rishus the noisin. Once the noisin, right, the noisin, I want to give you a present, I want to give you a matana, right, a shtar. I send it with a shliach. And then the mashaleach dies, right, the mashaleach dies. So you could say the reason why it can't take place, the reason why it can't be chal is because once the mashaleach dies, the shliach is bottle. It doesn't say that. It says because pakale rishus the noisin. So twice Rashi could have said, like Rabbi Yosef, that it's because it's bottle, the shliach is bottle. Once the mashaleach dies, the shliach is gone. and therefore it can't take the kinyan or the shikhr can't take effect. And yet Rashi chooses to say, like Rabbi Rafi and Rabbi Dani, that the reason is because Pakal Rishus is the Noisin, because it's not yours anymore.
Why can't that just mean that there's no more sheikhos?
Because the Taich doesn't mean that.
So
The
the
literal translation doesn't mean that. That's why.
inferring the shlichus is
That's
still
why.
chal.
What?
It's
It's implying that the shlichus is still chal, which is, what does that mean? We'll get there in a second. The Ktsois is actually making that implication. Okay. No, you're not asking to the dik. Okay. Okay, so now, the Ktsois in Simon Kuf Peiches has a shayla. Ktsois has a shayla like this. He has the following shayla. He states the following shayla. He says, what would be a case where a guy makes a shliach to do something for him, and then it becomes a shaita. So now we know a shaita can't make a kinyan, can't be kain anything, he can't be megarish, can't be meshachar. He can't do the very thing that he made a shliach to do for him. So now the Ktsois has a shayla. If I was memane shliach, if someone was memane shliach, and then he became a shaita, could the shliach still do the shlichas that he was meant to do? That's the Ktsois' shayla. On the one hand, you could say, well, why not? The Mashalech is still around. But on the other hand, you say, no, the Mashalech can't do it himself. Something the Mashalech can't do, a Shliach can't do either. Right? Says the Ktsois that this Shaila is a Machlokes Rishayna. It's Machlokes Rishayna, the Rambam and the Torah. The Rambam and the Torah discuss a case, let's say, a husband who sent a Shliach to megarish his wife, and then he became a Shaita. So the Rambam says that the Gerushin is no good. And the shliach should go ahead with the shlichus and be megarish the shaita's wife, the gerushin is pasul midrabanan. Midiraisa it's still good. The Tur says no, it's not good midiraisa. It's machlokes Rishonim whether it's only drabanan or it's a diraisa. It's pasul midiraisa or pasul midrabanan. Now the Rambam himself says the reason why it's only pasul midrabanan is because shelo yoimru shaita bar gerushinu. The Rabbanon is because if you say the shliach could go ahead with the shlichus, people are going to say, oh, he's a shliach of a shaita. A shaita is a bar gerishin. It's not true. Shaita can't be megarish. So it's only the Rabbanon. It's a gzera the Rabbanon. But the shlichus is good midaraisa. The Torah says it's not good midaraisa.
Yeah, but okay,
one second. So the Ktsois says from the Rambam, it's mashma. From the Rambam, it's mashma that the Mashalech, once the Mashalech appoints a shliach, no matter what happens to him afterwards, the shliach can go ahead with the shlichus, no problem. Even if the Mashalech becomes a shaita, or even worse yet, he dies. That's the Ktsois' dik in the Rambam. So the Ktsois asks, so why the Mishnah of Omer Tenu Gedzela Ishti, right? He appointed a shliach to go to megarish his wife, to meshachar shtashich el avdi umeis lo yitnu lachamisa. What do you mean? According to the Rambam, why lo yitnu lachamisa? Once you're appointed by the Mashalech, it doesn't really matter what happens to the Mashalech. Just like he becomes a shaita, he dies, no problem. Right? And that's the Ktsois asks in the Rambam. The Ktsois asks, why shouldn't you be able to carry out the gerushin? According to the Rambam, that even if the Mashalech becomes a shaita, the shliach can go ahead with the gerushin. It's only possible with the Rabbanon. Shloyem shaita by gerushin. What are you afraid? By mace, you're going to say a mace is a bar gerushin. Everybody knows the mace is not by gerushin. So what's by mace? Why by mace is it possible? By mace, let it be good. Let them be able to carry out the shlichus.
She's already an amana, so that's it.
Oh, but there it is. So the Ktsois brings these two Rashis. So he says the answer is like Rashi. Of course, a shliach. Not like Rabbi Yosef was saying that the shlichus is bottle. No, once the shlichus was nismana, it was appointed. Zehu, it's good to go. What happens to the mashalech afterwards is irrelevant. Whether the mashalech becomes a shoita, becomes a mace, doesn't really matter to us. The reason why lo yitnu lachamis is like Rashi says because she left his rishus. She left his rishus. You're a shliach. You're still a shliach. You're appointed as a shliach. You could still be'etzem. You could go ahead and do the shlichus. You want to know why you can't do it? Because the Mishnah says lo yitnu lachamis. You want to know why? Not because the shlichus is bottle.
There's no metzias.
Because there's no wife here anymore. The wife left the rishus of the Baal. There's no metzias of wife anymore. The wife is gone. She's not his wife anymore. Pakale rishusei, right? That's the way the Ktsois learns this Rashi. Dani, that's the way the Ktsois learns this Rashi. I'm glad the Ktsois says it's not I, because now you have to argue with the Ktsois, not with me. So the Ktsois learns shot like that in Rashi. Okay. Now, there's a very, very strong kasha. This is the very strong kasha on Rashi. I want you to turn the page, the Gemara, to Daf Chof Ches Amar Aleph. I want to show you 3 words in Rashi. You'll be very happy. Yeah, I want to show you 3 words in Rashi. Rashi says, let's see the Mishnah. It's the Mishnah. Hamevi get, someone who brings a get, a shliach who brings a get, ve'enichai zokein oichayla. He left the Meshaleach in a state of illness. The Meshaleach was very ill, or he was a zaken, very old. So what's the halacha? Perhaps maybe he died. Now by the time the shliach reached his destination to give the get, maybe he died already and he can't be megarish the woman. Mishnah says, no, we're not afraid for that. The shliach could give the get to the wife. The fact, there's a chazaka that he's still alive. This is Rashi, first Rashi in the Mishnah. Rashi says, what would have been the problem? Rashi says the problem would have been the shlichus is a bottle. Now, if you learn like the Ktsois, that Rashi holds like the Rambam, that there is never a problem afterwards. We're not concerned with what happened to the Meshalech. Once there is a minoi, once he was appointed as a shliach, we don't really care what happens. The only problem is because she's not his wife anymore, because Pokale Rishusay. So how could Rashi himself be soiser, contradict himself in Daf Chof Ches Amar Aleph and say, because bottle shlichusay?
So Kasha Rashi, Kasha on the Ktsois.
That's right. It's a kash in the Ktsois.
So the way it's a
kash in the Ktsois. Betach. It's a very strong kash in the Ktsois. So now, let's go back to the Ktsois. Indeed. It's a kash in the Ktsois, and let's go back to Ktsois for a second.
But
yeah.
Can you say that Batal Shlichuso is... It's not really saying that the Shlichus is bad, it's saying that there's you can infer that because you can't fulfill the Shlichus because there's no serious anymore of what to do.
Right. I mean, Danny wanted to say the other way around. You want to say this way around. I'm saying you could... We're trying to be as exact in translating the words of Rashi.
Fine.
I'm saying, let's try to be exact over here.
Okay.
We're going to assume that Rashi means what he says and he says what he means. Okay. All right.
Just like in the Gemara where it talks about paper and then it says, no, it didn't mean that, I meant reading. Do you know what I mean?
Right, the Gemara does say that, right. I think the Gemara actually says it's missing in the Brisa, not that it meant something else.
Sometimes you get...
Okay, fine. But if you don't have to, we'll try not to.
Okay.
So now, the Ktsois says, right, let's go back to the Ktsois for a second and see what the Ktsois made a leap, he made a huge jump. Right? The Ktsois has a Rambam, we found a Rambam. The Rambam says, when the Meshaleach becomes a Shaita, the Shliach can still go ahead with the Shlichus, that's the Rambam learns. So the Ktsois jumped from that halacha and he said, Hu hadin if the Meshaleach would die. Now could one hear a chiluk? Could one hear a very fundamental difference between the Meshaleach going crazy but still being alive and the Meshaleach actually dying? The Ktsois is implying like this. Ktsois says, since the Rambam says that when the Meshaleach becomes a Shaita, the Shlichus is still Kayim, Hu hadin when the Meshaleach would die, the Shlichus would still be Kayim. That's the Ktsois' line of reasoning, which seems logical. But if you think about it, could there be a difference between the Meshaleach going crazy but still being alive and therefore the Shlichus is Kayim to the point where the Meshaleach drops dead? So there one could say, 1 second, here the Meshaleach is not here anymore. Of course the Shlichus is bottom. But the Ktsois doesn't see that as a chilik b'chla. The Ktsois seems to say, if you say that the Meshaleach goes crazy, he becomes a Shaita, nevertheless the Shlichus is Kayim, so then you'd have to say, Hu adin, when the Meshaleach dies, the Shlichus is still Kayim. But I think you could hear somewhat of a chilik.
Yeah.
You can hear somewhat of a chilik. You say, listen, the Meshaleach goes crazy, the Shlichus is still Kayim because the Meshaleach is here. The Shlichus is alive, he's in this world, he's still around.
He's still considered married or whatever, isn't he?
Not just because he's still considered married and the woman is still his wife.
Yeah.
I'm saying more basic. I'm saying the shlichus is still kaim. I'm saying what's at the shlichus. The shlichus is still kaim because there's something to connect to. The Meshalech is around. The Mashalech is around, so there's something to connect to. Mashenken, when the Mashalech is not around, there's nothing to connect to. The Mashalech is gone. And how can the Shlichus be kind? The whole chiyus of the Shlichus is, the whole ability of the Shliach to be called a Shliach even is because you're someone's Shliach. Well, that someone is not here, so of course you're not going to be a Shliach anymore. Whereas, if you're a Shaita, okay, so you're a Shaita, but you're around, right? You're still your Shliach. Why can't he be a
Can a
Shliach?
Shaita divorce his wife?
No.
So if it's mind, if Shlichus works by mind reading,
Okay.
then it's the same. Because if it literally has to mimic the status of the Baal, then the Ksos is correct. Because he's saying.
Can we find maybe a some middle ground here, like this? The Shliach doesn't have to mimic the Mashalech, whatever the Mashalech could do right now. Right? The Shliach has to be a Shliach of someone at the time that he's doing the Gerushin. Because the Gerushin has to be Chal for someone else. So a Shliach has to be a Shliach of someone. As long as that someone is Ba'olam, I could say, listen, okay, so my Shliach is Kayim. I don't have to have the Mashalech being able to do whatever I'm doing right now. As long as the Mashalech is here.
He needs to be able to do it at the time he gave it over, though. No?
Yeah.
That's what I want to say. Perhaps even if he can't do it, even if the Mashalech can't do it at the time that the Shliach gives over the Gerushin, the get. Even if the Mashalech can't do it. But since the Mashalech is around, that enough.
He was talking about the time
He was normal. He was normal.
No, the time the Shliach is normal. Yeah, the Shliach was normal. Yeah, he was.
But if you say the Mamash the same person,
right,
which is like Exos, then you can if you say that okay, the one's your Shlichus, then it's
then I agree with you. Then I agree with you.
It's literally a clone.
But I'm asking you, perhaps there's middle ground. I'm saying you could understand that the Rambam won't jump to the Ktos's conclusion and say that, even if the Mashiach dies and he's not around anymore, the Shliach is still Kayim. I can understand the Chiluk. I can hear a Chiluk. Could you hear it? I don't know if you could hear it. I could hear a Chiluk. I could hear maybe when the Shliach is a Shliach of someone who's around, even if the guy who's around can't be Poyel Legayushin, nevertheless, the Shliach is Kayim because there is a Baal around, there is a Mashiach around, but the Mashiach is dead. Who's the shliach of? A shliach, by definition, means you're acting on someone's behalf. That someone is not here. So what are you doing? What are you doing? No, you don't. You don't hear that. Ralph, you don't hear that. You could say that. But
can I ask something? I don't know if it's totally on. You asked if a shota can be megarish. You said no.
No.
So can a shota get married?
No.
So it has to be somebody that was well and then became a shota.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once you say that,
I mean, there are some. There are one.
Once a shota can't divorce his wife, then he's nothing, sort of thing. Like the dead guy is dead; he can't do anything. So
you want to really compare a shayta to a dead person? As far as shlichus is concerned, you want to say a shayta and a dead person are equal. That's the Ktos's understood it. I think I can understand there's a chiluk. I think that a shliach, the reason why by a shayta, a shliach is still a shliach is because
a shayta can become.
He's acting on someone who's around. He's acting on someone's behalf. He's still acting on the shliach's behalf.
But also,
shliach's around, so you're shliach. By definition, shliach means I'm acting on someone's behalf. So the guy's still around. So therefore, I can be a shliach. I can be a shliach of that person.
Yeah, but also the shayta.
But if he's not around, what are you doing?
But the shayta can also become not a shayta again, maybe.
Okay, if he becomes not a shayta again, then that's different. Yeah.
So I'm saying, so you're still fulfilling.
It's got
right. That's right. That's true. Right.
It's a potential. Whereas if somebody's dead,
okay,
there's a chiluk because it can come back.
Right. I'm saying even without the potential, but yeah, potential is a good addition. You're saying the shayta also has.
No, it's the answers. Like my sort of question. So I think it's got the potential to.
It's not the same as.
It's not the same as the guy dead.
Not like the same.
Not like the Ktos's, right?
Yeah.
So you could say the chiluk. Okay, fine. Where am I going with this? Because be'emes we saw Rashi. Rashi has a steer over here. Rashi has by get isha. Rashi says bottle shlichusai, and in our sugi we're dealing with shtar shichrur. Our sugi, by the way, if you note, when Rashi says the svar of pakule rishusai, the nafka Rashi is going on shtar shichrur and shtar matana. Rashi is not dealing with the get isha. So by get isha, Rashi somehow chooses to say the svar of bottle shlichusai, and by shtar shichrur and by shtar matanas, shtar shtaris, Rashi uses the words of pakule rishusai. Now, what would be the difference? So I want to say, of course, Rashi agrees. Of course, Rashi agrees that if he's Mesa Meshaleach, that it's Batal Shlichusei, like Rashi says, Daf Chav Ches. Of course, there's such a svar of Batal Shlichusei. It doesn't make any sense to say that if the Meshaleach dies, the Shliach could still be Kayim. It doesn't make any sense. Whose behalf are you acting on? On that person? That person's not around. Whose Shliach are you? So of course, Batal Shlichus, and that's why Rashi chooses to say by get Isha, Batal Shlichus. So now, why doesn't Rashi say the Testament Beis, Batal Shlichus? Why doesn't Rashi say it over here? So you could think perhaps a Svara. You could think a Svara. In the same Rashi, the Rashi says, the Nafkeli Rishosei, the very same Rashi, Rashi also mentions that the Shliach is Zoicha in this Shtar Shecher, to loy motzi ya'odem lachzerboy, right? Rashi is going in the Chachamim that the Shliach is Zoicha in the Shtar Shecher for the Eved to the point, not entirely, not that the Eved is freed, but to the point that the Odin can't be Chayzer. That means as soon as the master gives over the Shtar Shecher to the Shliach, what happens is that the Shliach sealed the deal, so to speak, that now the Eved will become Meshucher when he gets it in his hands, but he can't seal the deal to the extent that the Eved is Meshucher right away. The Zchi only works halfway. So what does that mean that the Zchi only works halfway? Rashi says that the Rabbanan say that he's Zoichet Lach. What does that mean? So perhaps you can understand that it means that in as far as the Maseches Shicher is concerned, as far as the Maseches Shicher, whatever the Odin is supposed to be doing, that was done already. The Odin can't be Chayzer anymore. You know why? Because whatever he was supposed to do, whatever was mutal on him to do, in this Shicher was done already. How was it done? He didn't do it. The Shliach did it for him. So as soon as the Shliach was there, now what's left to do? What is left to do? For the Eved to receive the Shtar Shecher. So half of the Shecher is already done, is already accomplished. Which half? Whatever the Odin was supposed to do. So therefore, Rashi says over here, you can't. Batal Shlichus is not going to help you. Why not? Because Batal Shlichus only helps when you're acting on someone's behalf once the guy is dead. The guy is dead. So Batal Shlichus, you can't act on someone's behalf if he's not around. But here we're dealing with a case of Zechiyah. The Rabbanan learned you were Zoicha in the Shtar Shecher for the Eved. What do you mean you were Zoicha? The Eved is not free. The answer is you were Zoicha halfway. What does it mean halfway? To the point that the Odin can't be Chayz anymore. What does that mean? That means that whatever the Odin was supposed to be doing in the Shecher was done already. That half that was mutal on the Odin to do, on the master to do, was done already. So therefore, what's left to do isn't to act on behalf of the Odin anymore. It's only to go ahead and give it to the Eved. So I'm not acting. You can't say Batal Shlichus over here. Batal Shlichus only is a svara, and as much as I have to go and act on someone else's behalf, and that person is not around, so of course I can't be someone's shliach if he's not around. But over here, I don't have to be the person's shliach anymore, because I was zoicha in the Shtar Shecher for the Eved, and as far as the Odin is concerned.
So what's the shliach doing now?
He just has to go ahead and carry it out and give the Eved put it into the Eved.
It's like you're saying the shliach has like halfway the job
he
for him to be given something, and then he's got the finishing off part is more the guy by the other person.
Right, isn't acting on the Odin's behalf, on the master's behalf. It's a lumdus, but I'll tell you now. I'm not saying
the whole process of the.
I'm not saying this lumdus. Rashi's saying this lumdus. Rashi's saying that. This lumdus is definitely Rashi's saying. Rashi's saying the lumdus that somehow it's split, the zchiyah is split. That you can only be zoicha d'loy motzal mehadir. What does that mean?
But you're only. The whole point of the shlichus is to fulfill the will of the Adam. The person might not even want it. Let's say if it's a get or something like that.
It's a shtar shecher. We're doing shtar shecher. It's a schus. Fakert.
Oh, okay, fine.
It's a schus for them.
So therefore you're just assuming that the other person will definitely want it. Anyway.
Will definitely want it. Yeah.
You have to say that.
Yeah, I'm saying that's the way it is. Chachamim say. Eved has to be crazy not to want this shtar shecher.
Well, they say if they want for it, you have to do the thing with the ear and whatever.
That's if he wants to. Yeah.
There's much more. There's people that don't want the shikra.
No, that's an Eved every.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
So okay, you don't seem like to be too masculine to this lumdus. It's okay. I'm saying if you have a better pshat.
No.
I'm open to hearing better pshatim. I mean, how Rashi. So one second. So the teretz is by a get isha. Rashi has to say batal shlichusay because over there. The shliach didn't do anything yet. He wasn't zeich on the isha. He wasn't zeich in the get for the isha in any way because it's a chayv. It's a chayv. He wasn't zeich on anything. So the baal dies before the isha, before the shliach had a chance to give it to the woman. So he has to be acting on the baal's behalf. And the baal's not around. So it's batal shlichusay. There you can have a svar of batal shlichusay, because once the baal dies, now the shliach is left to act on behalf of the baal, right? Because it wasn't zeicha in the get at all, and didn't do the Maisa Shecher, the Maisa Gerushin yet.
Why can't it the
Whereas-
same svara that you just said, half?
There's no shlichus.
Because it's a chov, is that why you're
He's
saying
doing
no?
shlichus because he's not doing
No.
anything.
By only by Eved it works
Yeah,
out
why-
because
but
by
why can't-
because it's schus. By Eved it's a schus, so I can accomplish halfway. Even I can accomplish half the shechrer even before it reaches the Eved's hands. But by an isha I can't, because isha it's a choiv. The whole gerushin happens only when the isha gets the get.
Shlomo Rashi, he's not doing shlichus then, because whatever he's doing, he's not doing anything on behalf of the Baal at all. Because the Baal does his half and he does the other half, which is not on behalf of the Baal. So there is no shlichus here at all.
Saying once he's zoicha in the shtar shecher,
And we're saying that
the
the
Eved,
second half that he's doing is not completely.
no, but there's a din mitzad the Eved. The Eved cannot be meshulcher unless he gets the shtar shecher in his hands.
But
So
why
that's-
is this working within shlichus? Within shlichus is he's doing something on behalf of someone else. The first stage is you've given over to the shliach, and now the Baal's finished, has done his job. And now the second half is saying it's not on behalf of the Baal anymore. So it's not. When
where's
is
the
when is
shlichus?
the shliach doing something on behalf of the Baal?
In doing the Zechia.
And doing the zechira.
In doing the zechi, he's definitely doing on behalf of the Baal because
That's the shlichus.
that's a shlichus. He's doing it on behalf of the Baal by being zoicha in the shtar shecher for the Eved. That's acting on behalf of the Baal. The Baal is supposed to be doing that. No, that's the shlichus. But the question is, from that point on till the Eved receives it, that he's not acting as a shliach for the Otman anymore. That's dumb. For the chalois of shikra to be chal, you need that the Eved should have it in his hands. That's needed for the shikra. But mitzad what?
Shabbos Aveda.
That's needed for the shikra. The shikra can't be chal unless the Eved has the shtar shikra. But as far as the ma'isa shikra that the Odin would be doing, that the shliach did right away. So because you could say the shliach did that right away, so you can't say batal shlichus once the meshalech dies, because batal shlichus wouldn't be a svara. Batal shlichus is only a svara when I have to go and do something for you when the guy's dead. Okay, so batal shlichus you can't do it. But if that was accomplished already in his lifetime, as soon as I received the shtar shikra on behalf of the Eved, so then the batal shlichus doesn't make sense. The only thing that would make sense is because pokali rishusay, because the shikra can't be chal. The problem with the chalois shikra, you can't be mishach or something which is out of the rishus of the Baal. The shikra can only be chal if it's the rishus of the Baal.
But
Of the
Tosfos had a question on Rashi. How can
you split it?
what was the question?
Rashi was Chayza.
Rashi was chozer on it. And,
But
yeah,
this
how can you split it basically?
Right.
So Pnei Yeshua had a pshat in Rashi that he hadn't yet given it to the shliach. So here,
And he
it's
hadn't
not-
yet given it to the
it's
shliach.
Like when when Rashi says hasn't lo matik to liyadeh, it means liyadeh of the shliach. So, so therefore,
so then,
that's why there's no shlichus.
then
So
it's
he's not
all
started yet. So that answers the Stephen Rashi because there is no shlichus. So while in the other Rashi,
no, but why couldn't Rashi say that once he dies, batal shlichusay?
because there is no shlichus because he hasn't yet taken.
But he was nismana. He's appointed already as a shliach. He didn't take it yet. Didn't pick it up with his hands yet to be zoich in it. But he was already appointed as a shliach.
Being this man as a shliach is shlichus.
It's
No,
Of
it's
course.
just being a status.
Being
The shlichus actually
mina
starts
shlichus,
in
mina
the
shlichus. You don't need to pick up the get in order to become a shliach. I can point you a shliach beforehand also.
Maybe Bnei Yeshua was saying he didn't appoint him as a shliach.
No, but Bnei Yeshua wasn't saying. But Bnei Yeshua is saying another. Bnei Yeshua is saying
Like he says,
he wasn't zoich. He wasn't going to
get.
pick up the get. So the Eved wasn't zoich in it. But of course, no, it's not a steer to the mina shlichus. He became a shliach already.
So he has already become a shliach.
Become a shliach. So Rashi could have said batal shlichus. Rashi doesn't say that. No, but according to Bnei Yeshua, okay. One thing. So how does Bnei Yeshua learn? So, okay, we have to see Bnei Yeshua inside. But what does Bnei Yeshua say? So why can't he be chayzer? If he wasn't zoich in it, didn't pick it up. So why can't he be chayzer? Okay, whatever. That's
But actually later on, could
what? Yeah. So what's Bnei Yeshua saying? Yeah. What are you saying, Danny?
the Rashi later on could also say because she's an Ammon already.
He's saying Rashi,
Also-
both Rashis are allowed dafki.
No, I'm saying no.
Yeah, Rashi. Oh, yeah,
I'm agreeing
Rashi
to
could
this
say
Rashi.
right. No, you're 100% right.
But
Rashi
also
could have said
Makkah.
right. Rashi could have said, yeah. So, no, it seems. I mean, I think Mitzvah Chatzayna. If you had two reasons to give, right, why the shlichus is no good, right? Which one would you say? Because it's batal shlichusa, or because it's pakal rishus? Now, you really? Yeah. No, so then you have a kasha. Why doesn't Rashi say the better reason over there? Why does Rashi say batal shlichusa? Because Rashi could have said this reason of pakal rishus over there. I'm just saying why Rashi couldn't say batal shlichusa over here. But Rashi could have. I think it's okay. I think it's simple to say about the shlichus. Okay, we'll move on to another point. I don't know what time it is. It's always
It's 10.
10:10.
oh, he says we didn't touch the sugi. We didn't get anywhere. Okay, we got a lot, but.